We are back at home after the start of Budapest Major, and it is time for another episode of All About Counter-Strike. No specials, no guests, just a review at home, chilling. My voice is still absolutely destroyed. Um, I think the energy's higher because some exciting things have happened in the news. There is actually quite a lot for us to cover today. That's why we're doing an episode at this point. But before we get into it, Devwalk, let's just do the thing we haven't been able to do for quite a long time. It is the 18th of December, 2025. The time for me over in Ukraine is 8:11, which means for Devwalk over in Sweden, in complete darkness, it is 7:11 for you. Not the store, but
7-Eleven.
actually 7:11, but not the store, just the time. And we're not together. You got a big smile on your face. How are you feeling, man? You had like recovery days, I guess? I think we should call it
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I've been extremely sick. I was sick most of the major actually, but the last day was the absolute worst for me. I was like a zombie. So after I got home, naturally, I was a zombie as well. I think I slept like 15 hours straight once I got back,
Oof.
and slowly feeling better and better. Slowly feeling like both my voice is recovering and yeah, just you know health, my brain is coming back slowly as well. It's not completely there, but yeah, I mean, my girlfriend had pictures of when we did the segments
Yeah.
for the final. There was like, she has pictures of just before we go live. There's like 1 minute until live, we go live on the desk. I'm looking like a complete zombie. Like, when you like stare at something and you're
Yeah.
just staring at a point, and
Just lost into it.
yeah, you're just nowhere. You're not present.
Huh?
So that
What?
was kind of what I was. Yeah.
Exactly like that. For me, like, honestly, I didn't get sick or anything. I feel pretty good. I didn't have I can't call it like I had blood, but I just had, like where your throat was inflamed.
Yeah.
Um Obviously from everything we doing on stage and how crazy it was, giving it as much as possible, putting all my energy, soul, heart into everything that was there. So that's just what I do. That's how it works out. I came home, we drove home, so it was nice and easy. 3 hours driving. I think I had the shortest travel day of anyone. Yeah, there's no one lives in Budapest from town side, so that was super good. That was comfortable. Um, and then I played some CS and streamed. My wife has been doing all the home stuff, getting things ready for Christmas. I actually even dropped 2 aces on my first day back, a pistol
Yeah.
ace and a mirage ace with you. I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
I
I was
think you
very keen.
even didn't you ace twice on Mirage?
But did I ace twice? I think one was an eco though, right?
It might have been, but
Yeah, that one doesn't count. That was terrible.
all
Pistol
right.
round ace felt good because I'm terrible with pistols, and then that Mirage ace with the rifle felt nice and smooth, especially because like we were absolutely dominating that team. Do you know what's nice? Always after the major, when I've been playing games, it's not even face it. I was playing Prem, and people come into chat afterwards like, "Oh my god, it's really you," and I'm like, "Yeah, man." So like they've all just been hyped. They because everyone watches the major. They maybe don't
Yeah.
watch like all the PGL, ESL, Blast events, but they all watch the major. If you're playing Counter Strike, it's the one that everyone's watching. And I think, right, I don't know if I saw this somewhere. I'm going to look at this straight away. We're back home. There's no one to keep timing of anything. And here I go off on a tangent for you, Devil. So I was just looking. Most watched Counter Strike 2 tournament 2025. Budapest Major was second to the Austin Major. By the way, that's kind of crazy. The Austin Major actually has more because of the time zone being in America. But that's not too bad. Um, so obviously the majors stay winning. And then at the same
Yeah.
time, the Budapest Major, I think, was in the top 5 for majors of all time. Yeah. Start out a Budapest Major review. Let's have a look. I'm just crazy scrolling right now. I watched this
All right.
somewhere.
I haven't checked that many stats, to be honest, since I had a rest day, and then I celebrated my sister's birthday yesterday, and just been casually chilling, playing some single player games, played some CS with you, obviously.
Yeah. We're gonna be
Um,
playing a lot more CS, man.
yeah.
It's level 10 time over Christmas. I'm just gonna say that now. Well, you're already way there, but I'm going
Well,
I'm going there.
I I have other things to do. I have to travel a little bit more, unfortunately, since we have my girlfriend's family for Christmas and my family for Christmas. It's a lot of days where there will be
Okay.
no access.
Family is temporary. Counter-Strike is forever. So whenever
Family is
you're home,
temporary.
goodbye family. Hello Counter-Strike. Well, your family could just one day hate you. Your girlfriend or wife could leave you. So Counter-Strike will still be there. It just gets us through those hard times. All right,
But we might not
let's
have to artificially create these circumstances before they need to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, exactly. I would not wish that on anyone, but if it does happen to you over the Christmas period, Counter Strike will be there for you. What I want to do, I want to start with just having I guess, an overview. We already touched on all the teams and stuff, right? Everyone knows what happened at the Budapest Major. We had guests on. We spoke about the disappointments. I want to do a brief touch on the teams that are not Vitality and FaZe, because these two teams should not make any roster changes. Yeah.
Yep.
These two teams can be looking very comfortable into what they're doing going into 2026. But I want to go over some of the other teams that are in playoffs, see what we think for them, what could be happening, maybe predict some roster moves that could be happening. Most of our news is going to be roster moves as well. Um, oh, yeah. And I think also, obviously, because we were working the event, now we're home, right? And I said this from the beginning of when we were doing the podcast. I will talk very honestly about all the things that started it good or bad. I obviously beginning of the whole tournament for the major was not good, and production improved, things got better. The arena experience was great, except for the security ticketing issues. Now, a lot of people are just instantly blaming Starladder, and I understand that because you bought the tickets for Starladder's event. I want to explain to people at home how this works. You rent the arena, you then need the security team, you then need people to take care of this kind of thing, yeah? Um, for example, if you're Blast and ESL or PGL, these three are doing big events all the time. They understand the logistics of this. They have a bigger um, pool of staff to work from. Some of the things I saw on Twitter are horrendous, by the way. Like, this guy literally had the same ticket as him, and it was just like a faked ticket. Some people were sneaking in through like smoking areas. I'll say this: there was even fans that said, "Oh, we wanted to see you." We couldn't go anywhere because there wasn't extra security to help us go from A to B if needed. Like, we did the signing session for Blacklight, right? But security definitely was. And I think Starladder staff themselves will say I'm not talking for them, by the way. I'm just saying, I think anyone who worked there would say the security were pretty useless. Like, we've had bad security at events before, but these guys were like sitting on their chair, rocking around, watching a Counter Strike.
I mean, the
Like,
worst part about the security for me was we obviously, to go to the desk, we had to go through, like a little bit of a pathway under where the production was, etc.,
yep,
where kind of the walk-in was, and then into a door, into another door, and there's an elevator there. There's a security guy on a chair there, and there's a door to the staircase. The elevator is slow as fuck. It literally takes like 4 minutes for it to come
all
down.
of these old industrial ones.
Yeah, and
In a
always
greatly
in
new modern
use.
arena. I don't know how this has happened.
But the security guy, the first like 3 days of the arena, he
Yeah.
just said we weren't allowed to take the stairs. And we're sitting there like, well,
What do you mean? Why? What if you want to be healthy?
so what? Like, why can't we do that? He's like, nope. So, but we're working the broadcast. We need to get up there quickly, Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, you might miss like 4 of the last rounds. Like, if you're just waiting for an elevator to drop. But in the end, we just said, fuck it. We don't care. We need to get to the desk now. And we just went to the staircase anyways. But in the beginning, questionable why we weren't allowed to just take the
Yep.
stairs to get to our desk. So that's my story about security.
So even working the event, you had problems with it. Yeah, I would just say that, like, obviously Starladder hired these people. Ultimately, they are responsible for that, but they are not responsible for the ticketing. That's through a company that takes on the ticketing, and then the issues afterwards. The fact that the security were unwilling, by what I'm reading, to help tackle these problems and like take people out of their seats and work it all out. And that information desk, which was not Starladder staff again, it was staff from this ticketing thing. Like this was a huge mess, and there's a lot of people whose major was ruined who have traveled from all different parts of the world. Um, and there was even like a guy in a wheelchair, and he couldn't get his wheelchair seat because someone was taking that. Like that is disgusting. Like it's awful. And obviously, this is something now that will obviously have problems for Starladder. Everyone's blaming them, but it's also for me the solution has to come from refunds or um, being able to review all the actual tickets, how many could have been faked or whatever. Like I've never seen this problem happen before, and this is actually wild. Like this is it's so sad because inside the arena, obviously, when we're there on the stage, when the team's coming on, that all looked epic, and then to see this afterwards is just really sad. And I hope there is a solution. I hope there is a fix for all the people that had this problem. But it really does put a downer on if that was not a problem, I feel like this arena could go down as like the best crowd arena going. Because I saw some people complaining about a lack of things to do. They had like booths for sponsors, some clothing stands, food stands. But again, you have to look at this. Starladder doesn't have all the relationships with teams to sell the jerseys. Yeah. They don't have all the booths set up where, like, I don't know, every one of their sponsors might not want to have a booth. There's all these things that are like, if I go to Cologne, I can walk around, yeah, and there's something to do everywhere. There's something to do
Yeah.
outside before you even get into the arena. Um, this was more just on the Counter Strike in the playoffs. So when you have big breaks for other people, that can be quite annoying, can be quite difficult to go through. So there is that as well. Um, but I was happy at least there was our signing session right that we did at Blacklight, but there was also like Spirit, Mouse. I don't know who else did it, but there was a few signing sessions which players got to have, and fans got to see the players they like. And
Yeah.
also, I'll always say this for the teams: when you get eliminated from a major and you still go do a signing session, shout out to you. I don't care what team you are, what you've done. Like it must be so hard to be eliminated from a major and then go and have a signing session. Like I can't imagine. Like I'll be honest, if
I've
someone
I've
told me that, I'd be like, no, I'm good. But
I
like that's respect to them.
yeah, I've done like not signing sessions per se, but I've gone into the audience and signed people after being eliminated in a manner like that.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that like the worst part is that people come there and they try to be nice to you and they
Hmm.
say, well played, and you're just sitting there, no, it wasn't well played, fuck, like
Yeah.
you really like almost every single like positive comment almost hurts you when you're doing it because
Yeah.
yeah, you're just obviously heartbroken.
And there's one other thing as well for everyone that keeps saying like how bad the major was. I saw this from G2 Pekka. He is the general manager of G2 CS:GO. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's huge, but we'll put this up in the video. Um, can you just check one thing while I'm doing this, Devil? Is my mic volume going up and down? Can you still see it on the bar? Because I can't see mine.
I see it going up and down, yes.
Okay, good. That's fine. As long as that's working, I'm happy. I wanted to make sure that wasn't bad.
I'm
So
gonna do a
G2,
footnote for our editor right now.
yeah, this is nice. So G2 Pekka said, now that the major is behind us, it's time for an unpopular opinion. Starleader did a great job, but he said he's speaking purely from the perspective as a team involving players, backroom staff, hospitality, hotel, locations, spacious practice rooms, PCs, and equipment. I heard such good things about the PCs. By the way, the PCs, as far as I'm aware, were not AMD, which is normally a bad sign straight away, but players were ultimately very happy. They
Yep.
obviously had the Zoe monitors on there, which is good. I'm still going to say Zoe. I think it was Sponge and Machine said it's called Zoe, but I used to work for him. I've always called it Zoe. No one's ever corrected me.
I
Um,
think I think it's that way for me as well.
yeah. He says, as some of you know, we had a medical emergency with one of our players at a very inconvenient moment. A Hungarian speaking player manager volunteered to help, assisted in bringing a medic to the hotel, and later accompanied the staff member and player to the hospital after work hours following our game against Mongols. He did not have to, but he stayed there until the very end until the player was fully treated. They returned to the hotel together at 4 a.m., and the player manager was again present and ready on stage for tomorrow's game. I don't know which player manager that was, but that is above and beyond your duty, and you are an absolute hero.
Yeah,
Like
that's legend.
that's so that obviously he speaks the language. You're in a foreign country technically, right? It doesn't matter if you're still in Europe and you could be a European player or whatever. It's uncomfortable. You don't know what's going on. That's huge. And he just went on to say like every issue they had, every bit of communication stuff that was out there was like all fixed, all dealt with, you know? So it wasn't as bad as like what people may want to make it out to be. Because we saw the 3D Max comments where they said about the shuttles. Well, do you know what's funny? Starladder and like other companies, because I know both EGL, PGL, ESL, Blast, all these companies, they're never going to go and throw anyone directly under the bus. Well, when some players just lie about things, it is also not cool. Like there are screenshots, there are proof of the things. There could be some miscommunication, but like when some players say, "Oh yeah, we didn't get a shuttle," but when you missed your shuttle time by crazy enough timings, and then and then you expect it to still be there, and you were like, there also has to be some professionalism from both sides, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I also saw the guy from Archie, he's the CEO of Bait Esports. He was very positive about it. So I think this whole negativity around the major as a whole, like I guess for us as talent, you obviously don't do as many events, but my expectations for Star Ladder was that this was going to be an uphill battle and this was going to be very hard for them to do because you've been out of CS for so long. So much has changed since you've done it. I think having that test run that we did for Star Series in Budapest before was a huge help, but it never can set you up and be ready for a major. But I think the end result is something they can be proud of. Maybe, maybe gives us hope of what they can do to go forward if they want to keep doing Counter Strike as well. Because I know they've got another event for 2026 planned. But I would never look at this major now. If the major stayed the way it did on the first couple of days, I could have easily said Starladder shouldn't get another major, but I don't have that opinion right now. I think that they tried some new things like the elimination wall, which I did not enjoy. I did not like. That was not fun to do from my perspective. Um, I think there's some things we could tweak on the stage, right? Because if you looked on Sunday as the stage host myself, doing an announcement of players, and by the way, this is another thing. You have lots of people with some great ideas, but at times it felt very messy on who had control of it. There was like three different people I would talk to about what I'm doing on stage. Then some freelancers I'd also talk to who were involved in making a part of that stage moment. And then I'm doing a crazy long intro into voicing over the players. Like it was a lot for me. Like I was
Yeah.
completely cooked by the end of it. But I feel like they themselves are smart enough to go back, review, and be like, "Oh yeah, I can see why this didn't make sense. Like how you could do better next time." I think the drummers, by the way, the
Drummers were
drummers.
epic.
Oh,
I
bro,
love the
I
drummers
know
though.
we're old. I know we're old.
I
So
shook one of the drummer's hands at the after party as well. I'm proud of
oh,
that.
bro, by the way, he is a party guy. I left at like 3 in the morning because I'm not drinking as much anymore. I'm like, I think this year I've drunk less than ever before. Like I'm not even a casual drinker. This guy was on it. This guy was enjoying his moment and his time before he headed back to New York.
Yeah.
And he was a vibe at the party. You could tell he was ready to rock out even there. I'm surprised he still had energy. Because drumming, by the way, you burn a lot of calories doing that. That's
Fucking
like
hard.
that's a hard job. That is a real hard job. But what I want to say about this is maybe it's because we're both old, but if you remember all the CS 1.6 movies, they were all rock heavy. A bit of trance, techno style, especially from the Swedish early days of like 2003, 2004. But we were a hardcore rock music, Nightwish, Cell Dweller, Limp Bizkit movie. Like there was all these kind of things, right?
Yep.
And then we suddenly get that for the Star Ladder and live music done well. And I'm thinking, how did no one cook this good before? Now, young people who are watching this podcast right now, please tell me what you think in the comments of the drummers, because I am genuinely interested if you have the same thoughts we did. But this worked. Like, dude, I was on stage, I'm getting ready to go, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting a little pump. The players loved it as well. The
Yeah,
players definitely loved
I
it.
thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good. I think that every single time that I've seen anyone trying to mesh live performance into esports, it's failed miserably. Like it's been the
Yeah.
shittiest thing I've ever
Yep.
seen. But this was a good middle ground where having this kind of drum off and one drummer for each team as they walk on stage. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was
Yeah.
really, really good, and it elevated the walk-ins for me.
Yep. I think there's tweaking that can be done. I think that like I will say this actually went down as I remember I've said forever Antwerp was the best major arena I've ever done. Um, People love to say I am Rio. Rio was maybe the best crowd only when Furia were playing. Because if you were there for any of the other games, it wasn't full. It wasn't crazy. I remember taking a picture from the top, one of the booths of it when Furia played, and it was incredible. That noise, that arena, that feeling can't be beaten. But because they were not there every day and for every game, it doesn't win for me. So Antwerp was always the top. Now we have finally beaten. It's taken 3 years, and Antwerp has been beaten because standing on that stage, feeling that energy, I was actually shaking during my intro speech, which that don't happen.
No, I think it was, as you say, an unbelievable major, especially the arena experience. That's where it really jumped up for me. I think stage
Yep.
1, 2, and 3, they were cool in their own right, just because we had an audience, we could hear, even having, a little bit of taste of this home. Like when Mouse were playing, it was incredibly loud, incredibly uh, what's even the word, like atmospheric
Yeah,
in a sense,
good word.
um because I mean, we were even doing the desk segment and people were chanting, torshi torshi torshi,
Yeah,
and we could barely hear. Like, we had fucking in-ears that fucking went straight into the ear. We couldn't hear shit, man. Like, we had to raise the volume up on our I don't even know what these devices are called, but
your belt
uh,
pack, the
yeah,
audio pack. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right. I think that's generally enough about the Star Ladder overall major. I will now come on to a bit of the team stuff that we saw in playoffs. I want to start with Falcons quickly. In your opinion, I think this is a team that makes a change. The rumors are at the moment is that they're looking for Jim Fat, which would obviously replace Tesses. That is what is put out there. Obviously, we're gonna go from this into news, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Tesses is bad, yeah, but Tesses had to adapt quite a lot. Um, Within this system, maybe they want a younger player in there. Tessis is not old, by the way, he's 25. But Yimfat has also had his struggles in Mals. Remember last year, Yimfat was already rumored to be going. Oh yeah, there was this other rumor that came out around Falcons that like Bit's contract is up at the end of the year and Bit's going somewhere. I messaged Navi. I confirmed that he has a long contract, and both Falcons and G2 previously tried to get a way to buy him out. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, unless directly the people who are running the esports team at Navi have just straight up lied to me about the contract. They just said like the contract is not low. So that doesn't mean he can't be bought out if they decide or Bit wants to also be sold. That could be a possibility. But this contract's going out at the end of the year is not true.
Yeah.
That is not a fact happening in there. Um, I do feel like if Falcons want to jump up, they do need another change, but they just need the roles to be better.
Yeah.
It's nothing about another superstar, like that meme is just a meme. I don't need to see them buy someone else out. They don't need Donk, for example. Um, I think overall, Kioski, Munisi, and Nico play pretty well. Kixan I still rate as a good IGL. He still gets a lot of help from Nico. That has an effect on Nico's performance. But if I saw the testers for Yimfat trade and Yimfat can fit in with these guys, I think that could be a win move. I'm not against him.
I'm not against it either, but I feel sorry for Tessus. He's been incredible in this Falcons, like I don't know, lifetime or whatever you want to call it, when he's
Yeah,
been there. He's obviously been a soldier who's kind of been changing roles, making sure that everyone else fits into the system, and has kind of been thrown to the wolves at times, where he was obviously a little bit of a star player in the past, like great multi-kill potential and all of
yeah,
that, but played very, very different positions back then compared to now, and has kind of had to learn on the go as new stars have kind of taken his spots. So I do feel
which makes
sorry for
sense.
him. I do feel sorry for him. I don't think that he's at fault for Falcons not, getting to the point where they probably have set their goals. But you know, I think at this moment, I think it was even Kassad who wrote a tweet like probably close to approximately $20 million. How many tournaments they've attended? I can't remember what number it was, but I'm just gonna throw
Yeah,
something out there like 36, one trophy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's painful, and this
and
started a long time ago.
yeah,
I'll say this right for last thing on Falcons. If they get Yim Fat, it doesn't fix everything. It's going to be how they gel together as a team. I also do not like that the organization puts so much focus and pressure on the majors for a team that has players who do struggle under these circumstances. You can have all the best performance coaches and physiotherapists and like the full team that Falcons had with them. Yeah. There also needs to be a change in mentality around it as well. Because yes, we know the major is a focus. It's the focus for every team. Everyone loves it. But as the org's putting more pressure on you for that, and you've got the big buyout and all this money being thrown in, yeah. Let's try and take some of that pressure off them so they can focus on what they do best, you know?
I agree on that, but at the same time, no matter how you try to bend things, if you put that much money into things, into, buying out the best players from different teams and organizations who obviously has fans because they
Yep.
were playing in that team, um, you create a lot of hate watchers. You create a lot of people who apply that extra pressure on them, which I'm pretty certain you can't change until you win a couple of trophies and make people shut up. Like you just have to deal with it at this point. If you're gonna create a super team, this kind of comes with the territory.
I'll give you a an overall thing of my thoughts right now on Falcons. They are chasing this thing of being like a Vitality or an Astralis. I don't think that will ever happen for this team. I don't think they will ever sit as let's say ever, because they could just buy, I don't know, Donk, for example. Yeah, they could buy another one. They could go really wild. I don't think that's going to happen either. But I don't think in 2026 or 2027 we will see Falcons in a position where they can win 7 trophies, 2 majors back to back.
No, no, no. I
Because
don't think so
it's
either.
not gelling in the same way. It's not, yeah, it's like that's they can win some trophies. They can win a major. Might be very hard for them to win a major, but I don't think they're going to go off on this craziness.
But I mean,
Um,
they don't give the lineups enough time.
yeah,
I mean,
as always. Like,
it's
look at this. The
sad.
GMing from Vitality is so good, and then the GMing from Falcons with all the money spent. I remember, just remind everyone again, Vitality didn't pay for Flamesy, Rops, and they paid a very small amount for Zywu. It's all there. Let's go from here to the Mongols though, because obviously, I forget that member of the Mao's organization hated that I asked Mongols. Like he said, how dare I ask the Mongols if they'll continue with controllers next year in an exit interview? Sorry, they were fine with it. Techno said the perfect way because he was PR trained and gave a good answer. That's pretty stellar of him. Will they keep controllers or not? That's the question. Controllers showed that he can play well and plays well in this system. I think they continue with him next year unless Senzu comes back. Unless Senzu comes back. But
I
also,
think
if you're Mongols, do you want to risk taking Senzu back and then he has again a bit of burnout? Like,
I think they probably keep controllers until the end of the year. I don't think that if you have real burnout, you will
mhm,
have these moments where you think everything is fine until pressure is applied to you and you break down, right? So it doesn't go away in just a few months.
yeah,
I think it takes way longer than that. So I would foresee him at least being there until the summer, and
okay,
maybe that's where they kind of collect their thoughts, see what kind of results they have. Is this something we want to continue with?
yeah, I'm down with that. I'm not against that. Mongols doesn't really need too much else talking on. I think this was a good performance to get to playoffs. Happy days
Yep.
for them. Maus, now my favorite team as in players, my least, no, I can't say my least favorite team from management. Wildcard will still take that spot. But not a fan of Mao's staff and their stupid direction of trying to control interviews and control narratives. Like that is not fine. That's not what you get to do here. I'm sorry, guys, but it's still a sport. Questions will be asked that you might not like. Um, Mao's year can be seen as a success if you're a team that's not looking to win trophies. Mao's are looking to win trophies. They had Cluj-Napoca as their only trophy. Not one of the biggest events, by the way, but it was still a win. Brolan, your Swedish IGL, I feel like there is a chance where maybe you can look at a position they might change him for. Do you know, I had this opinion in my mind because if Yimfat was staying, yeah, you remove Brolan, you put Exertion as IGL, and then you bring PR back. That is something I could cook with if I'm thinking that way. But if Yimfat's going as well, you don't want to change too many. Then maybe Brolan stays and then just PR comes in and you have to switch up roles. You know, people have to move around.
Yeah. I
Oh,
just have
but
a problem seeing how you upgrade the lineup in general. Like, let's say Jimpat leaves.
yeah.
What the hell are they going to?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Yimfat leaving, right? For me, we spoke about this already. The information I heard, and I have confirmed it with some good sources, is that there is a buyback clause, like because it's a loan technically from Maus. They did this already with Shuhei to Gamer Legion, yeah, and they brought him back to the team. They can do this with PR. So PR right now is one of the hottest prospects who's stuck on Gamer Legion. Gamer Legion is already going through changes. ZTR's out, you know, Snacks has come in. We'll talk about that later in the episode. PR to the main Mao's roster. Now, he would obviously have to take a lot of roles and space from the likes of Xertion. I don't think Xertion is going to be removed from the team. He's people can say he didn't have a good major, but I think he still performed pretty well. I don't, and he's a very good vocal player.
Let me quickly compare the roles while you speak.
Yeah, please do. Um, but like for them right now, they are such a middling team. They're almost there. They can get close. They can make deep runs. I think Torzi, he has stayed consistent. He has hardly he had one event, which was Austin, where he slowed down, but the rest of it is like pretty good. 1.11, 1.13. It's only this end part of the year where things started to slow down. He had
Yeah.
a 1.03, 1.02, 1.04 rating for the major, but I think he's still one of the best AWPers we have in tier 1 Counter-Strike. I think people don't rate him highly enough, and he is the hype man for the team. He is the motivated one. Even when he's having a bad game, he brings everyone back into it. But adding PR doesn't solve problems, but it will bring some new energy in, and it will bring maybe a sharper mind, if not mind, so a sharper aim if they use him correctly and set him up correctly. So how's this comparison looking?
I'm trying to work out this website from Nero. I can't find the Gamer Legion.
See, I just say it off the top of my mind, knowing that I'm not an analyst and I'm just trying to remember how it looks.
No, but I understand that, but sometimes it can be, a little,
Misleading.
yeah.
I don't want
But
to do that.
for example, so you want Surgeon, obviously, like on CT, he is middle, he's CT does two, like a rotation spot. He
Yep.
is B aggression on Inferno, A connector on Mirage, outside nuke, B short overpass, aggressive, and pop dog on CT train, which is like front yard.
Hmm.
Um, but I will have to go on Skybox if I want to see PR quickly.
Okay.
But the problem is, Jimpat is an anchor.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
replacing an anchor in a team, especially a high contributing anchor like Jimpat, who's
Yeah. Hmm.
probably stats wise their third best player, maybe, but they're very, very close to each other
Yep.
in terms of stats, is a problem because you're gonna get, like, if you put a replacement in, a lot of anchors in the world is probably hovering around one rating or even minus in rating. to some degree on some maps, and it's gonna make your team way worse. Like that
Yeah.
stat line is gonna make your team way worse because he's such a high performing anchor, one of the most high performing anchors in the world, I think. Uh, I can't really think of people who are
The
more.
Infat doesn't have too many low ratings. Like last open London, 0.95. Katowice, when they bombed out 13 to 16, was low. Obviously, the whole team was low.
Yeah,
But like in 2025, he's had two bad ratings. You could say bad, but he's still an anchor. In general, he is performing incredibly well from these positions. He's one of the best for the year.
yeah. So PR has a little bit different roles. It's more of the short rifle on Dust 2
Hmm.
because their upper is more towards middle than like a team like Falcons who have monitor towards short all the time. So he has very active roles like Surgeon, but
Yep.
some seem to be very different.
And on
Uh,
T side,
CT side, for example, he is B banana, the aggressive would be the same. You look
yep.
at T side there, this actually seems to be more, yeah, his second mid player on T side Inferno.
Ooh,
So there
okay,
are some things might fit better than you think.
interesting.
Yeah,
So they could cook. They could make it work.
good cook.
But this is just a rumor I'd heard and the option that Mouse can have, right?
Yeah,
So I don't think Jim Fat already last year was rumored to be going from the team. After this year, if other big teams have come knocking, and also by the way, I'm not sure in terms of salaries for Mouse and what it looks like for them, but it's never a team I hear when I'm talking to them about or being the most paid players or having the highest salaries or stuff. So someone comes in with a good offer, it can certainly be interesting. And Falcons is definitely right now a more interesting project probably to him than it would be of where Miles is right now. But also, Yimfat's finish. He could change his mind at any point. He could fly a crazy one out there, you know? There
yeah,
is
but
a
I think it's a good move for him personally
yep.
because I mean I don't think Mouse may necessarily falling apart, but at some point when you're that close and you're that
And it
close
can't
for
make it
that
work.
long, I think everyone in the team eventually is just gonna feel like we need a change. We need to make
Mhm.
something happen because you can't go into a tournament with a feeling that you can win it every single time and never do.
No, definitely not. All right, from Mouse, because I want to get through the rest of these teams. Furia, no changes. I was
No
worried when I did
changes.
the exit interview that Fulham might retire then, but he didn't win the major, and I think he's a smart enough guy that he wants to try and retire on top. Um, this obviously was not the performance they wanted to end the year with. I still think they are one of the biggest threats as a team going into 2026. I will also say this. I hear this so many times. Oh, we're a family. Oh, we play like a family. This is the one team. I was in the practice room of Furia after one of their games. It was after they qualified 3-0. Was it 3-0? Did they qualify 3-0 even? Yeah, they qualified 3-0
Yep.
in the first stage. Yeah. Um, when they qualified 3-0, I was in their practice room, and this is a family. Even down to the management and Gary being there. Like many teams can tell us that they are a family. Big Clan, for example, which was never a family. This is 100% a family of people who are going the right way. We heard what Fallen did for Molodoy in coming to the boot camp, even though he didn't need to. They could have just stayed online, right? Going the extra step, believing in this young player and all of that. So I got nothing bad to say about Fury. It was not the major end they wanted, um, but the pressure is the highest at the major.
Yeah.
Still one of the best teams in the world.
100%. I think, Molodoy obviously had a stinker kind of last showing against Navi, but I think all in all, this is an experience that I called it on desk as
Hmm.
almost you can turn it into a positive trauma to some sense. where, obviously disappointing for himself and everyone, but having this experience this young, I think can be very, very valuable,
Yep.
to kind of stay humble, understand that you have to go in with the right mentality and attitude compared towards every game.
Yep.
And I think for him as well, finding that reset button a little bit quicker in these like very, very high pressure situations can be something to think about for him as an individual. But no doubt in my mind that him as a player will be able to identify when he has A game, B game, C game in the future and be able to adjust in these games. So yeah, it wasn't their game. It was also a very well playing Navi, a Navi that in my mind probably played their best series in the entire year against Furia.
Yeah.
Um, so it's incredible amounts of prep work.
Hmm.
It's also a lesson in terms of that, like how do you deal with prep work? They're so specific in what they do, Navi, in their prep work, and they know
Yep.
everything. Can you change some of your own patterns as a player up, or do you get mind fucked and get out of your comfort zone? Because that's what happened to Furia. They got out of their comfort zone because of the amount of prep Navi had.
Yep. Yep.
But as you say, no changes. Keep doing what you're doing. They had a rocket kind of, uh, you know, rocket start to this lineup, and I think that for them, it's probably way more than they ever hoped for at the very start of the
Oh yeah,
changes.
definitely. Um, I'm gonna skip Spirit for a second. We'll do that last because I think I've probably got more to say on this whole Spirit situation. Some info I was able to get. We'll talk with Navi because, like we said, Vitality face. No reason to talk about it. It's enough we spoke about them. This Navi and even Blade himself said he's very happy with this performance. Right, top four at a major. Should have been in the grand finals. They dropped the ball against FaZe for sure. It is some FaZe magic, but I mean, you had that game won. It was yours. It was a throw of a good opportunity. I do think there will be changes in Navi. Um, I saw some people saying that like, oh, it could be Alexi. I don't think it'll be Alexi. And if he has the same contract, I don't know, by the way. If he has the same contract like JL, it means he's still contracted. If they signed JL, Imma, Alexi on the same contracts as each other, all of their contracts will be up at the end of next year, 2026, right?
Okay.
Alexi, I wouldn't change. Wonderful. Played his best major ever. I don't know. I didn't look at the stats of that. I'm just like
I'm
on
pretty
an eye
sure it
test.
was.
On an eye test, he played his best major ever. Let me just check. I'm going to look down this. We're going to choose majors. Yeah, best major ever. Not even close. Best major ever. So Wonderful's in a good position. Now, one thing that worries me is Wonderful worked with Ursula, their performance coach, psychologist, whatever you want to call him, helped with his mental. Wonderful took it into his own hands for people who didn't know that he went and found his own mental coach as well. Yeah. He saw this as a reason, something he needs to fix.
Yep.
Also, if you are an all put on Navi, we did the All About Wonderful podcast episode. You're not getting the opportunity to make as many plays as when like Simple was there who could do what he wanted. It is different now. Yeah. Sometimes a lot more supportive. Now, Bit I need to have a conversation with because what I saw, and for people to know, I saw this in our green room. We have the screen that shows the game that you guys are watching. Then we have down below the cameras, all 10 player cameras. I can watch, I can see like a little square of their camera and I can look at it.
We have a coach camera as well.
And a coach camera, yeah, but the coach is moving around like,
Yeah.
like all over the place. But we can see the reactions the whole time. That's something I've always asked for, and a lot of TOs have now given it to us, and it's a huge help for me. Bid is a problem. Bid is not like he can be the golden boy of Navi all you want, but I saw 4 players happy enough, going through it, believing each other, not mentally breaking. They can be frustrated. They can still like, oh, but it's not nowhere near as bad as what it was for the rest of this year. Nowhere near was it affecting players. But Bit at that grand final, I think they were 10-2, not grand final, sorry, of that, when was
Semi.
it 10? They were 10-2 up against Furia, right?
Oh, you mean the quarter?
Quarter, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me check. It was either Furia or FaZe, both begin with F.
Well, they were 10-3 up.
10 Well, okay, but they were 10-2 at the half up on train, right? They ended up winning 13-3. And I was still seeing bit frustrated and not happy. And it might just be his character. Yeah. But when I looked at that, I thought, okay, let me watch a little bit more, like a little bit more detail on him. Throughout the FaZe game, I know he was having a rough map against FaZe, but at times he looked checked out. Now I could be reading too much into it, but he did drop a 0.91 rating. This is normally a player who can be a star within this team, even when playing very hard roles. And he is god tier at this. And you think, right? They played Inferno last map. That is a bit specialist map. You think of all the good things you would usually see from Bit there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame him for this loss because it's not when he won players. But I just wonder if he could go to the same level to fix his mentality, to fix his mindset, like Wonderful did, what that could unlock. Because we always go in this circle of Counter Strike skills, shooting, vibes, all this stuff. But the vibe was obviously so important to that Navi that did so well in 2024. And right now, if Wonderful has fixed his stuff, why can't we get that from Bid as well? You know, the he was part of that Navi 2021 roster, which obviously being a very CIS team, they would talk about things, and I've always said this that that doesn't work for a lot of European players. You know,
Yeah.
they can't take that kind of direct criticism um, and that kind of communication. But if Bit could just fix this little bit, that could have been the difference maker in some games that are closer. Now, we already touched on the fact that I don't think these rumors. I spoke to Navi. I don't think these rumors are true.
Can I jump in
Um,
on the bit
yeah,
thing?
please.
So, if we look at just this is stage 2 Navi, right?
Yep.
Bit was the, I think, second best rated player of the entire stage. He
Yep.
had a 156 rating, 188 KD. Obviously, Wonderful was the best performing player. And we go to this is stage 3 plus playoff, right? So it's
Mhm.
not only a playoff game. Bit was the fourth best in Navi, if you wanna be positive about it.
Yeah.
Only on 5, but he had a 1-0 rating. This is
Mm.
13 maps in stage 3 and playoff, 1 rating. Only worse by stats is obviously Alexi, but he wasn't far behind. He has a 0.92. And considering that Bit, I mean, to me, normally is at least like on the very top of high performance in this Navi, or has been historically,
Yeah.
it's a big drop off. Because I mean, you've talked about it, you even hyped up about it.
Playoff Bit.
Playoff Bit. Where
Mm-hmm.
where did he go? Where did we didn't
Yeah.
see playoff Bit. We didn't see. I saw kind of a shaky player, to be honest. I thought, especially when I noticed things were shaky for me, was Inferno. I felt like sometimes he just way overcommitted on the short side. I think he died like a couple of times in a row where he was kind of solo aggressor when I
And
felt
pushing
like he
apartments
could have.
sometimes, right? And like not
Um,
holding back. Like you would normally see like his defense was normally so strong, playing from pit, playing
yeah,
from the
I,
wall.
I rarely saw him play from that position where he normally, can get 3-4k on a solo defense, and instead
Yeah.
maybe it was frustration, maybe it was something else that he couldn't keep his mind in check, but it felt like I watched a different player um
Yeah.
than I normally would see, like even at Star Series we did earlier in the year, Star Series Budapest, where he was obviously amazing, did highlights after highlights, and it was from that pit position. And it was over the car where you can drop into headshot. It was from sight, but I rarely, see him being a solo aggressor into middle on Inferno, which is a huge risk, by the way. You lose that guy. The strength of A site is just people don't know where you are, and yeah, it felt like he wasn't playing like himself. That's what I read into it.
Yeah, and obviously, I will say this quite openly. Bid is the person I speak with the least of Navi players, right? So maybe he could have something personal going on. Yeah. There could be something else outside affecting him. This is a real life scenario. Yeah. Anything can happen like that. Um, but I was already hyped up saying, okay, it doesn't matter what his usual performances are. Playoffs is where he thrives. And then for him not to deliver, it was something off. And just what I was seeing on cameras paints me to believe that like something wasn't sitting right. And even by the way, Imo is trying to hype up everyone on the team. Makazi's in a good mood. Alexi, like he calls strong. I'm not gonna say he's like bringing the hype for everyone, but he's not the vibes leader as such, but he's a real captain, to spur you
Yeah.
on. And I felt like if Wonderful's now fixed himself, then all they needed was this little extra like belief or this knowledge of it. Um, but it's going to be interesting. I don't think Bit will be the one that changes, but I feel like Navi will make one change during this roster move, and it might be one we don't expect. I will try to get more information for later on. As of right now, everyone's chilling, everyone's on their holiday times. Um, but Wonderful's a massive positive. Makazi, by the way, EVP, hugely
Yeah.
positive. Our little Kosovo man is, by the way, I'll say this thing. What was so lovely for Makazi was he was doing this on a major stage when Flatro, Zoshi, GXX are in the crowd watching him. He
Yeah.
has surpassed all of them, yeah, who literally, Pimp said it best. Um, Bad News Eagles walked so McCarthy could run.
Or
Like he
fly.
is an Oh, fly. Yeah, fly. Sorry. So
It's better
McCarthy
in the
can fly.
analogy.
Yeah, yeah, very good. I was trying to remember the exact quote. Um, but he was hanging out with them as well, right? They obviously support him massively, the countryman, what he's doing. And it's even funnier now that McCarthy is still on the team when Zway said in 6 months he'll be kicked. And then we're going to get on to Spirit afterwards. But it is McCarthy has gone from strength to strength, and he is learning, he is growing, and I don't think he'll be going anywhere from the team. Like that's another one they can just build upon and keep for the future in a good way.
I think he just looks like, in some weird sense, a coach's dream. Not maybe, like, I don't really know in game, but
Mhm.
maybe it's not the most intelligent player of everyone,
Oh, you mean
but
eating nades?
but he's fearless, number one.
Yeah,
Incredible attribute to have in Counter Strike, because when you need someone to do something, they just need to do it the way you tell them to do it. And he is, excellent at that. Seems like a problemless individual to have in a team, in what seemed to have been a pretty problematic team for an entire
yeah.
year. So probably a breath of fresh air for someone like Blade, to have there. Bring good vibes. Just, happy to be there, happy to do the work, happy to play every single game they're playing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never see him have a frown on his face. And if he does, it's almost always continued with a laughter or something along the lines.
And
Eh,
we heard about the relationship he has with Imra as well.
yeah,
It's incredibly important. It's incredibly special. So I'm happy with it. And that brings on us to the last team to talk about here for the playoffs. It's Spirit, because Spirit has already announced their changes. Spirit now will be minus Sway, minus Chopper, and they find themselves back with Zontix and Magix.
I'm
Magix
so
into
happy
IGL.
Magix is back.
Bro, let me tell you this, right? I didn't predict, I didn't have any info on the Chopper one. Yeah. But I told you Zontix will be back. People said, like, so all that news came out when Zontix went, right? Oh, it's burnout. Oh, it's not this. Then obviously we said, because obviously I spoke to him in Shanghai, I said it was health issues. Everyone said the Ukrainians who don't like him, by the way, who are idiots, they just hate him because he's on a Russian speaking team. Guess what? There's lots of Ukrainians that play on that. Bait, who you guys like, has a Russian coach. Yeah. Zontix is still a Ukrainian. He's been on that roster from the Spirit Academy days. He's grown with the team. I knew he had health problems. He spoke to me on an interview. By the way, maybe people should watch more interviews, but I did the interview with him. And he said like what he was struggling with during Shanghai. They went on to win it. He got his time off. He's been able to fix some things and work on it. And I'm so happy to see him back. And this is it, right? People are now going to straight away say, well, Zway was bad. Zay's this. But I'm not even angry at Zway. Zway was in a hard position that he had to go to roles that were not his. Yeah. He had to try things and do things that are uncomfortable or not natural to him. There's a different way of playing within Spirit. He's not going to take Donk's roles, right? Let's be honest, it's not happening. So they tried it. They needed a replacement. They brought in Zway. They brought in Tanir. They had to go through all these things to fix. Yeah. Hallie said in this quote that was given on the statement when it was announced that, like, let me just, I'm going to give the exact quote in case people didn't read it at the time. It wasn't an easy task as there were no ideal candidates that could solve our problems right away. So we came up with a plan. The decision was made to sign 2 skilled prospects who had shown a lot of promise throughout the previous season. It would provide our leaving players an opportunity to recover so that we'd be able to build the best possible roster at the end of the year. It's a unique way of doing it. But guess what? For me, this is a smart team building way. If you already knew this is what's going to happen, we've got to fill in some blanks. Now, people just look at numbers and say, oh, we're replacing Magics. Yeah, it makes sense. But like Zontix was a health issue. This is one of the few times that happens where he was benched for health reasons, allowed time to fix it, and he's going to come back in. By the way, Zontix will outperform Zway in every way within these roles. He'll go back to his same roles and positions, and what he knows, he remembers exactly how to flash things for Donk. You know, I talked about the synergy they would have where if Donk's rotating into a site, Zontix will sometimes fall back, do the perfect flash, allow Donk to make the magic moments. Also, Zontix will stay alive longer on the sites, not over peak, not push over things. Like I have watched these games time and time again, and Zontix, by the way, was part of one of the, or yeah, 2 of the trophies they won at the end, right?
Yeah, both.
Yeah. So both trophies they won, Zontix was still there, you know? This Zontix, I know a lot of people are going to be focusing on this roster move, all about Magix and Chopper, but this Zontix move is huge. He's back. He's going to do well. The kid knows how to grind, and also he is one of the smartest players in his role. And if you talk to him out of the game, off camera, he is well educated, well read, likes a lot of time like to focus and think about things, psychology and stuff. Very calm, very cool. Yeah. This is exactly what they need. So then, as you know, I'll let you talk about your thoughts on the Zontix move, then we'll come on to the next one. Because I can go on about this all day. Because my end result on this is Zway wasn't set up to fail. He was given an opportunity, but he was never going to be the permanent fixture for this team. Maybe if he'd done extremely super crazy well, he would have been the one that stayed instead of Tanir. But this is what makes the most sense. And it's a great chance for Zway to have taken a lot of experience and see where he can go next.
No, I mean, I obviously think it's a good move. I personally have always, maybe hyped Magix a little bit more than Zontix. I think, both players in their own right is great in the system that they have, where they don't maybe have that much space, and they are great at facilitating Donk in his aggression. They are good at closing rounds, something that they lacked with Sway and Tanir in the same roles. And it's a win condition for Spirit. They need a lot of closers because Donk is going to open things up for you. Donk is going to make it relatively easy for you to close rounds, and I think we could probably see frustrations in Donk because the lack of closers, especially in this major.
Yeah.
But Sontix, he's always been great. I more want to talk about Magix. I think that
Go on, you start on Magix then, because I've done my Zontix level, and I got a lot of opinions on this next one as well.
I mean, I heard even before this happened that Magix would never come back to Spirit if he played the same roles.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Now he such a good
Technically
bait,
not the
though.
same role. Technically not the same role.
Such a good bait. No, but I think this is obviously part because I think is instrumental for Dong. We
Mm-hmm.
saw that he fell apart, raged, or whatever you want to call it, mentally checked out in the semi.
Yep.
I think Magix is, he's a teammate he appreciates a lot. So just because of that reason, I think he's really important for the spirit side. I also think for me, Magix has always been one of the most smart players that I've seen. Because we've played them a lot in various different teams, like even back in I think No Chance days, we played them a lot. He was one of the most annoying players to ever play with or against
Mm-hmm.
because he would so often get a kill, fall back, make sure he, just gets his guarantee, make sure the rotation comes in, never overextended. Great aim, can also, if he's in a must situation, facilitate multi kills for his team.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Fix yourself, mate. Come on.
I think you're gonna have to take over from here.
All right. You can come back to this in just a little bit. I'll say this. I'm going to start with my thoughts on Chopper. Chopper was a good IGL. Never one of the greatest IGLs, right? Some of the mid rounding at times was maybe questionable. Following Halley's plan is one thing you can do, but obviously you still need to be able to have that good read of the game. He could occasionally have some of these pop off maps or chances to do well, but it was true that T sides were lacking, even when you have a player like Donk. If you look at when I spoke to Halley and Chopper in Hong Kong, they said they're allowing Chopper some more time to help with the prep and get involved in things. I think that was a sign of the last chance. Chopper, you can be more involved. You can't blame it just on following Halley's way to do it. But if this doesn't work out, then, unlucky. Donk was also playing an amazing major, which is why we're so frustrated. You've had the firepower upgrade of both Sway and Tanir. Obviously, we spoke about the role side. This then didn't work out.
Yeah.
Chopper has been on Spirit for 6 years. He joined in March 2019. He played through the COVID. He lifted their first trophies. He took them to, before Donk, by the way, took them to major playoffs with Dexter, Patsy on the team. Like, he's done the work. And Halley has a huge amount of respect for him. What did Halley say at the end of this? He said, "Throughout all these years, you have become my closest teammate. Our tandem has brought us so many emotions, and I'm truly grateful to you for the wonderful time we spent on the team. I wish you happiness and let all your dreams come true." 6 years is very good for Chopper to be within this team. Yeah. And remember, Halley came in 2022. So there was even a time where Chopper was without him. A lot has changed throughout there. 6 years is a good run, but if I'm looking at this, they play by Halley's playbook, his system. Yeah. Halley is the decision maker here. You want to make Donk happy. Magix improves the vibes. I'm not saying everyone can be an IGL, but Magix, I feel like, will perform to the same level, not that much worse, being IGL, because you're going to get the game plans given to you. You're going to know what you're expected and supposed to do. You already know what Halley wants. You've been on the team. You've been through this whole set of experiences, tournament wins, It might be hard for him in some aspects, but I feel like he will perform better than Chopper does on an individual level while doing this. He might struggle a bit more with the mid rounds at the beginning. It might be a small drop off. But when you've got basically Tanir, Donk, Zero, and Zontex, who will all know what to do and how to play in their roles, and then you now just IGL throughout this, I see this only as a positive, plus the improvement on the vibes that we're talking about. And I know I'm the vibes guy, and I know I always come back to this, but I will say, we'll show this picture at this time on the podcast. Let's show this picture of when they won in Astana, and Magix was happy they won. Donk wasn't happy even though they won because he didn't expect them to drop a map or even struggle against Astralis. And then Magix dropped all the golden stuff. Donk smiling at the end because Magix knows what to do with the young little tilter, and they have a close relationship. They are friends. This is I said this before on the podcast. Zontex, Donk, Magic's were always the three together in the practice room, spending all that time.
Yep.
Now, imagine that's your IGL now doing it, and he's putting that same time and then sitting there, everyone. This is great for the team. This is very positive.
I'm a
I,
Boris believer.
yep, bro, I don't think they are going to drop off. I don't think maybe they'll hit the ground running and win everything. It's a blast bounty. They did win both last year, so maybe they do it again. But I do think that they're not, this isn't going to be some like boom, boom, like up and down, crazy performance struggling. I think this is so strong. And this is now, if anything isn't maybe working too well, you've still got Zwei on the bench. Yeah. So he can maybe come in at some point. Like they're in a position where they are set up so nicely for 2026. And this is smart management from Hallie and whoever else is involved. As far as I'm aware, it's only Hallie. Yeah. Um,
I'm
but
a
people have to,
believer.
but a Boris believer. And also, Magix has been grinding. He's been non-stop playing Face It, chilling, streaming,
I saw
keeping himself
his
active.
ridiculous Deagle Ace on
Yeah,
Nuke.
the Deagle one on Nuke. So you know what? If he's still dropping guns to Donk, but he's IGLing as well, and then hitting with the Deagles all the time, why not? Why the hell not?
It also makes their team like incredibly young.
Yeah.
Shiro and Tenir will be the oldest players in the team at 24.
How old is
Uh,
Magix?
22.
Oh, damn. I just think because we've seen Magix for so long that, like, when did he join? He joined
I think
Spirit
he was
2019.
16. He was
Yeah,
16.
yeah. He joined when he was so young.
But yeah, I think Magic's from the outside. I don't know exactly how he's, inside the game and everything, but he seems like someone that can definitely take over the IGL part. He's chill, he's calm, he
Yep.
is, obviously maybe not the angriest at times at people, but I think that that's kind of going to be like a growth thing for him. I think Hallie is probably going to be the one that has to do that at times, but yeah, it just seemed like Chopper maybe in football term lost the dressing room at the end there
Yeah.
because of Donk's frustration. But I'm incredibly excited for this team. I think this is a team that can challenge the Vitalities, that can challenge the Furious,
Yep.
and it's shaping up to be a really fucking good year in 2026.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's it through the major teams and the roster moves and stuff, from our playoffs. We can get into the rest of the news as well. Is there any final thoughts you have or anything you want to say on the major? Or you want to just leave it there?
No, but I mean, I think for me personally, it was an incredible experience. It was a learning experience for me, and I'm incredibly grateful for Starladder for giving me that opportunity. Um, I think obviously, some people maybe criticized me for being there, and I think you're all in your right to do so. I think I improved during the tournament, and I'm incredibly proud of myself being able to stand in front of 20,000 people in the same place and do analyst desk work, which is different.
A bit different than when you won a major. There wasn't as many people there.
No, but it's also different than just analyzing a game. It's
Yeah.
a lot of storylines. It's a lot of trying to, kind of find the mood for the audience, etc. And it's
Hmm.
definitely something that maybe I'm not used to as much as some of my colleagues were. But I've definitely taken a lot of it in, reflected on it, and I'm just happy I got better every single day and felt better every single day, and hopefully
Yeah.
some of you guys enjoyed it and saw some value in it.
People will always talk shit, right? And complain about people not being high. People complain, why I'm at the major, why I'm working any of it as well, right? So that's just part of the job when you're a talent, right? That's how it
Yeah,
works. I'll say that I was proud to see your improvements of like how you use your voice. You were less
yeah,
monotone through some of it.
yep.
You're working on it, right? That's all you can do. Like, I don't know if people remember the first segments Maui ever done. He was very monotone. He didn't have this great way of talking, even though he's American and it's his first language. Well, English is not American, we made the language, but just insult all the Americans while I'm here. But
As one should.
also your knowledge is so valuable because you are still playing the game to a very high level. If I look at like Face It and understanding, watching the game, um, obviously you can try and structure things a little bit better compared to some of the more experienced analysts, but you did a great job of showing improvement with it. So, you know, I always tell you the truth. I gave you some hard truths when we were there to push you to be better, and we went through it that way.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there's one more thing I'm going to touch on before we end on the major. We did obviously the winners interview, and some people said, like, including people I know, including other journalists, which were just deciding to say it out on Twitter, not the time to ask about the Porsche. So if anyone did like not like this asking about the Porsche with Robs, I checked with Vitality Management and I spoke to Robs and it was fine. And sadly, someone screwed me over at Star Ladder. When I asked them about this, they were like using an overview of the team. You know, they weren't following me and Robs. And he even laughed, smiled, and threw me like a little fake punch to my stomach. Yeah. As a joke, because he understood it. My thing was about buying about buying a Porsche per major he won. It is a joke. It's a community meme. He was in such a good mood. I think I know him well enough to be able to do that. Me and Robson spoke quite a bit. We spoke about even struggles he had in like the end of 2024 before coming into 2025 and stuff like that. Um, Maybe it wasn't the right place to do it, but in the moment and the vibe, it felt good. A lot of people were still very positive about this comment, you know? Obviously, some people took it less seriously, some people took it very seriously. So if you were upset by it, there is, so be it. But I mean, I'm just explaining myself rather than people just being like, "Oh, what a dick move from Banks." Like, it's unacceptable to say that. Like, I would never say that thing. I would never do something like that without checking. Someone saying, "Oh,
Yep.
he's tone deaf." If anything, I am probably the most connected with the players. And just as an example of that, because Carrigan is a very good guy, right? He'll back this up. At the end, when we were at the after party, he said, "When I saw it was you doing the exit interview, it made me feel calm. It made me feel more happy. Like he knew it would be handled well. He knew he would be able to do it." And he had tears in his eyes at the end there. And I've done a lot of these exit interviews with Carrigan. He cried on the stage with Katowice when he lost the spirit that time. Um, I'm not saying I've been there to hold him, for example, but players respect the work I do and how I do it. So if someone wants to complain about that, it wasn't just me making a jab at Robs or attacking him or doing something crazy. Maybe you don't have to like it. No one's ever going to agree or like with any of it. Doesn't have to sit comfortably with you. But I'm not dumb to just randomly do something like that when it could still be painful or a problem for him to handle, you know? He understood the context. Everything was fine and it was checked. So hate it or love it, that's your choice on it. But there's my reasoning behind it. But here is where the year is going to get very interesting. Rostermania, as we like to call it in the Counter Strike world, where teams change players, rumors are out. We're making some guesses, like we already did with some of our teams who made playoffs at the major. This is where we get to go through everything of what could be happening, what has been confirmed. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on it. I'll just let you know the podcast for the next few weeks will be very much Rostermania news. There's no tournaments happening. So we're going to be diving into it. Some episodes will be shorter, some episodes will be our classic episodes as you like to see it. First one we're going to start off with here, DW, is going to be 100 Thieves. Now, 100 Thieves starts with Rain. Norwegian legend. He's going to be IGLing. That was already confirmed. Now confirmed as well is Device. It's no
Yeah.
longer a rumor. Device is on the team. Well, wait a second. It's not confirmed by news, right?
No.
It just says sources. Sources.
It's
But
rumors.
it's still a rumor, although
But
everything I've
but
heard
this
has
one
said it's there.
looks
Yeah.
like it's in the bag. But
I've almost slipped up here because I thought I was so sure from everything we heard from other people at the major that it was 100% true.
yeah.
Because Simple came out and said there was a chance for him to join, but something didn't work on timing. So that must mean right now that Device is on the team. Yeah. Um, so what I like about this is you got your experienced players, Rain and Device. Now you need 3 young players. Yeah. I'm positive about this. Device,
I mean,
however,
you need a fucking core, man. My
yeah,
so even if you go the young player route, don't you think it's almost reasonable to get one more like Astralis player, maybe even Magisk to start with. Once you've gathered your VRS points, you go for that young player, add him in, so you get invites to tournaments, because that way you would essentially have Astralis VRS.
Ah, yeah, which isn't it's not great, but it's not terrible.
Because you only need one more player. If you take Magisk is already left,
Yep.
but he's gathered in the core for Astralis
Enough
VRS.
games.
You get him in, short term contract, 6 months, whatever you want, add Stair, buy him out. You have Astralis VRS points.
Didn't Stead just resign for Astralis not long ago?
I don't care, but you only need to buy out one player. It's one player. It's 100 Anks plus Stair.
Yeah. There we go. Current team
That's my
contract.
take.
Contract ends 2027.
Still.
Yeah. The 20-year-old. So he did this in March 2025. And so he's all the way until 2027. He's not going to be cheap, bro.
I still think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no. Your idea is good. Your idea is solid. I'll say this: Device isn't bad. Yeah. And it might be just a factor of him playing on this Astralis, but he ain't got it anymore as like a star AWPer. And he wants to prove himself, but this major was like not great from him. I don't have too many wow moments from Device. I think I think that this is like more of a name signing and a chance to prove himself, but I don't see it as one where it's like this is going to be the way he's going to be playing like the old days. He's not going to roll it back. He could prove me wrong, but maybe a change of environment will help him. And the other rumor here, by the way, was it rumor or was that confirmed as well? Current team, yeah, there's no current team for Glaive, but the other one is that Glaive will be the coach. Now he's never coached before.
Yep.
He is very experienced IGL, and it would mean he's reunited back with Device. I'm okay with it. I think that then like your assistant coach or analyst or whoever else is behind you needs to be really helping out. Like he's not gone the Zip route where Zip was like assistant coach, now learning, getting some experience. No, Glaive's just gone straight into coach, and that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
I mean, fair play to him. I think that, you know, he can definitely do it. He's one of the greatest IGLs that we have had in this game. Also, from like a Device perspective, if you look at it, when Device was actually performing his best was obviously with Glaive.
Yeah,
No matter how you run the numbers, that's when he performed the best. So I think that for Device is also probably a little bit of, okay, maybe we can find some of that old groove. I can get, you know, the same space that I used to be able to take, the same patience from my team, so I can actually perform the moves that I do a little bit more systematically. Because Device have always had, the elements of being able to pop off,
yeah,
but when he's really shown or like been shining has been when they systematically force rotations. Maybe they do an execute, and he's the one to pick up kills through kind of nades. I think that they need to find a way for Device to have impact again, because right now teams are so good at counter utility and making sure the
yeah,
Oper has a hard time. And I think Glaive could be that person. I think he could definitely find ways to utilize Device and his abilities, because he's still a good AWPer. The problem with Device has been that it's almost like he's always in the back pocket of the group and never really gets used. It's almost like he's throwing a couple of nades. You can look at Astralis this major. He was like the fourth man every time. It never really
yeah,
felt like he was fronting with the AWP and actually opening the map up. It felt like he was always in behind, almost left in these weird situations, like a clutcher in some sense, which he used to be great at as well. But he's not that player. He needs to activate himself a little bit more.
yeah. I didn't really think of them buying the Astralis core, which could help now, right? If they did get Device as well. So Device there, and let's just put out there Yabby, yeah. and then that gives you VRS that you want, and then you can start changing things up and bringing
I
players in.
mean, Magisk
That
is
could
free
be
agent if you want to go the cheaper
oh, he's
route.
free agent. Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, so
'Cause
I was
or maybe I don't know when he's is he still contracted to
there was news
Falcons?
around Magis. It might have been on loan, right?
He was on loan from Falcons for sure, but I don't think he's.
It just says sources Magis set to leave. The veterans rifle will not be extended as stand. So he's still a stand-in. So he'll still be on Falcons, right?
Yeah, probably.
But either way, you if they're going to go this route, buy him out from Falcons. Probably not going to be that expensive. You'd
Or you
hope,
just
yeah.
loan him from Falcons. It's fine.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Obviously, they were rumored to try and take the Game Legion core. If PR gets brought back to Mouse, that won't happen. And obviously, ZTRs wasn't going to be an option for them anyway. So then, would you want Towson, Hypex, and who else do you get then? Because
You're
you've got
not
an
getting
auto.
Hypex. You're getting.
No, but I mean, that if you want the three, yeah, like the three, if they want a three from Game Legion, they would have to take an AWP or an IGL because PR can't go.
I mean, you would take. Well, yeah, you had to take Towson, Res, and Hypex.
Yeah, you see, see,
But then that idea
it's gone.
kind of sucks. Then.
Yeah, yeah. See, so they also said they would look at that team FUT, the old Nava Junior.
Yep.
They are currently 20th on the Valve ranking. There were people interested in them. You could take like Demon, Krabeni, maybe Dezigas, or however you say his name, the Lithuanian player. So like, there's all options in there. Obviously, they now have to get a core. So like, they're not going to get JL, for example. They're not going to pick up someone like that. They need a core to be able to go into next year in a good position. And 100 Thieves, by the way, for people who don't know, is a big American organization in other games. They are at the top in a lot
They're
of other
huge.
games or fighting at the top. There's a lot of money in there. Dope clothing line. So it's going to be hard for them, but they should have the ability and money to do it. And that brings us to Astralis right from there, because Astralis would be left with. Let's see this. So Magisk doesn't get re-signed. You lose Device. You only got Hooksy, Yabby, Stare. And if the Astralis want to continue, you need to get two other players. I've heard they were maybe looking at just going English international. I can't say
Yeah.
that's a confirmed rumor, or I can't say I heard it just through the grapevine of people. It's bad for Danish Counter-Strike, which continues to fall down. But is Danish Counter-Strike that bad you can't find two other young players to wear the Astralis tag and go through all of that?
But essentially, they have to keep Hooksy, Jabby, and Stare.
Yes, they could not lose any of those three in order to still be their 14th in the world ranking.
I mean, considering, yeah, I don't know.
It's so rough, right? So
It's
rough
a
and very
rough
tough.
one.
Someone's going to lose here. And obviously, it was just this whole payment thing that came out during the major, right? That like they didn't get paid in time. It was 1 month off or whatever, but there was also a lot of drama in the team. Hooksy spoke to me about that. Things were not looking so good. And obviously, a lot of uncertainty with Device going, Magis then not going back. It's a lot of there's not much time off for this team in their mind or what they're doing for next year. There's a lot up in the air, and it depends if the Astralis org wants to try and sell players and make money and then restart, or how they want to do it. But one out of 100 Thieves Astralis, someone's going to lose here. Someone's going to lose in some way.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable. I just don't know what other date. Like, do you go to Ecstatic? They're still Danish core, right? Like, A core, not exactly a young talent, but he is an AWPer.
I mean, I
Not
think
was someone people spoke about.
I mean, I think they're not even considering this. I
Like an
think
option.
they no. I mean, if they're going international route, we might as well scrap the whole
Yeah,
Danish
yeah. But it's sad for the
theory
Danish scene,
crafting.
man. It's
Yeah, but
sad.
it's sad for many scenes. Swedish scene in
International's
in
the way
in uh,
forward.
in ram scrambles.
Yeah, you literally just got eyeballers, right?
We
You're
got
looking at a
eyeballs
team with
back.
potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rolling back the years. All right, we'll have to keep an eye on Australis that side. Gamer Legion, I'm just sad for Gamer Legion, man. Just another Swedish player that's been kicked to the curb.
JL Astralis.
I don't have a problem with ZTR going. I feel like his highs with Metasport were great, but he never really got going. And obviously, there people might want to be nicer to him because there were so many roster changes, but he had enough time to try and perform, and he had Ash helping him. And Ash has made some good IGLs perform better. Shuhei, for example, you know. Um,
But to
so
be fair to him, he
mm,
was probably the only one performing in the game that I watched at least the overpass against Paravision when they got knocked out.
but do you
Um,
care that your IGL's performing?
I mean, I think that it was the other players that were disappointing in this major and not necessarily the in-game leader.
Okay. But I mean, it's still going to be an IGL problem when you've had some lackluster T sides, you've had some struggles on maps, you know, like you've had a lot of time, a lot of events this year, and they had a peak where we were very high on them, and then they had a lot of drop off. Yeah. And then also to add to this, problems for Gamer Legion, Ash is now out of the running for the moment. He's taking some time to break it off. Do you know what I
Yeah,
feel so sorry for Ash? Yeah. Like you can't ever look at it this way, but Ash proved himself as a very capable coach of raising up players, finding new talent with his analyst. He always was crediting his analyst. He never just took it all himself. Very well spoken, understood the game. He had to rebuild so many times and did it successfully, I would say 2 to 3 times, depending on how you look at it. Yeah. And had good runs at majors. Now, obviously, the highest was Paris, but still, you made runs with less money, less resources, less opportunity to many other teams, especially the teams you're fighting up against. And I'm not surprised he got burnout. You know, I'm not surprised by that at all. He needs a break after all of this. He said, I need a break to clear my head and work on myself. Then I'll be back, Ash said. Yeah.
I
I've
mean,
really struggled.
he's the coach that I've seen have the most amount of stacks of paper for a match that I've ever played against. Even when I was in BNE and we had the fight for the legend spot
Yeah.
for Paris, the amount of papers he had, and I'll be honest, I did not have even a tenth of the amount that he did in terms of papers for prep. Maybe I also think that it was maybe too much against a team like BNE, who is a
Bit
little
random
bit
at times.
erratic at times,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you might fall in a trap in terms of prep. But
Especially going up against
he's
you.
definitely a hard worker. That could be seen from every event
Yeah.
that I've attended and seen him at as well. So no, I'm not surprised he got a burnout. It is incredibly exhausting to rebuild to a degree more than people would ever think.
Well, like one of the other quotes he said here, I've been really struggling mentally for the second half of the year. The schedule has been brutal in terms of traveling and the lack of recovery time. And I first noticed that something wasn't right in IM Dallas when we had Acor as a stand in. My body language felt uncomfortable, uncontrollably bad, sorry, against Falcons in the playoffs. We wasn't expected to win that game at all, and I felt extremely badly affected during it. It should have been a really, really high moment in my career, but it felt completely the opposite during that game. So he even said this, I started letting moments outside of my control affect me mentally, and I was taking the results personally. Slend was struggling and I couldn't fix it. Then Kersey was having a hard time dealing with the pressure, which I desperately wanted to help him with, but I wasn't able to do so. So it's like he takes a lot of responsibility, yeah, but there's only so much you can take on this. I feel like the positive here for Game Legion as a team is even if you lose PR, yeah, you've got Snacks back. That is now confirmed.
Yeah.
And Snacks can do a lot of this work of experience alongside Res to help anyone else they have. Like he is someone. Oh, by the way, the analyst who was IMD, who Ash has constantly praised for finding these players and bringing the team up. He is now coaching. He is also Polish, so him and Snacks can work together with Rez as a more experienced player to help the others they get, even if they lose PR. The problem is, right? If they lose PR now, they don't have a core anymore. So if this mouse thing goes off, they've only got Towson and they've only got Towson and Rez. Unless
Uh,
does Hypex have enough games?
How many?
Maybe he
I'm
does
gonna
because of
check.
EPL. He should have enough games, right?
Uh, yeah, he
This
has
VRS monster.
enough. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he has enough.
Okay, so they're just saved. So losing PR, having to
'Cause
bring another
you need
player in.
10 LAN games with a core,
Yeah.
right? And he has around 15.
Okay, so they can save their VRS points, and Snacks is going to have to do a lot of legwork, and it's going to be a different style of game, Legion. It's
Yes.
tough for them. Losing Ash is a real big loss. If they do lose PR like I expect, then that's also going to be problematic. Um, I hope that Ash can get himself back up to standard and up feeling good again, because I would hate to lose him as a coach in the server. I feel
Well,
like the community is overly horrible on him.
Banks is doing a devil walk in the document. I just saw it.
Oh, yeah, I highlighted. I highlighted for you. I never do that. I'm doing a you. I've become you. Um,
Spent too
but
much time with me.
the next one to look at is more benching happening in here. We got a treat of this from Simple. When we
Yeah.
were talking to Simple during obviously the event, that they would be benching players. Nexa's gone. Emmy's gone. Sassanito's gone. I don't know if Andu's gonna stay. Does Andu's from Estonia? Maybe he speaks some Russian, depending on family and what side of Estonia he's on. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Andu also gets cut and they try and buy a core.
Yeah, it looks like that's kind of what their goal is with this. I'm wondering what core they are buying, where they are aiming
F
their
FUT
size.
FUT's one that's very interesting.
Yeah.
You could also look at who else was I thinking when I
But they
looked at
were
this?
recently bought into this FUT, right? So they probably have pretty long
BC Game got money to
contracts.
buy Simple. They can buy whoever they want. There's also the rumors that they would buy into Heroic. Heroic, by the way, love to sell players. They love to sell and rebuild.
Yeah.
But
Poor
imagine
Christian
Youngster and Simple playing
joins
together.
Heroic. Core gets bought out.
All VRS has to start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Who would they take? They would take Youngster, Nilo, and Xfloud if they did.
Yeah.
I think the FUT one would make more sense with 2 Ukrainians. Yeah. And then they have one other person who can speak Russian. And they would all communicate in Russian because
But
obviously
Demon is an
electronic.
AWPer, and he's their best performer.
Simple on the rifle. No, I don't think that's happening. That's completely just me memeing and joking.
I don't know. I don't know what the great options are. I think it all depends on how much money is BC Game actually willing to splash.
Yeah.
I mean, there were even rumors that they were obviously going for an Astralis core, which,
Everyone seems to want.
yeah, and I mean, it's just a weird one. It's just a weird one because if that's the kind of the aim for them is around, a top 15 to 20 team, they don't really have that many options to choose from. I mean, you have what, 3D Max, maybe Bait, Paravision Core. That wouldn't work out with Russian players, and
Yep.
I guess I I mean it's a limited amount of choice because I'm sure that Foot, even though their ranking is 26th or something like that, is
20th
probably
right
at
now.
20th.
Yeah, 20th VRS.
BRS, yes. But it's still kind of probably where their lowest aim is if they're gonna buy a core. They're probably
Yeah.
looking at something higher, like you mentioned, Heroic, 3D
Heroic.
Max, a bait,
3D
maybe.
Max people already tried to buy their core last time around and weren't able to do it.
Yeah.
So that seems to be something that's not quite on the cards as people think, I would say. But we'll keep
Maybe.
an eye on it. I just
Yeah.
think Andrew's probably looking at this now. I'm thinking, cool, I'm going to be gone soon as well. I felt like it was really rough, by the way. Like, let me just check the dates on this. So the 13th was the Saturday. Nexa gets removed from BC Game. Then Donna, his fiance, is interviewing Simple while he's basically mentioning it. It's like, oh my God, Sasha, please chill, bro, chill. There's too much. It's way too much. That's rough. That's real rough. But Simple has great expectations, right? And if he couldn't go to 100 Thieves, like what he was at least said, yeah,
Yeah.
then he needs a call to be back up there. He can't sit in this level of play for this long. And clearly, I heard something, by the way, from other players that like BC Game were on a boot camp in Serbia and they went for like 2 days and then the boot camp broke up and people just left. So from that point, it was over. Like something didn't work. They didn't click when they got on this boot camp. They didn't agree on things, and that's it. GG. So whoever manages or coaches this BC Game, do they even have a coach?
They had Emmy.
Oh yeah. So yeah, like you need to be ready to deal with all of that. Like there has to be a strong hand.
I mean, I know that Emmy is he's a stubborn man. I've coached him myself.
That doesn't work for Simple.
No,
You could
probably
go
not.
coach this team.
Oh, do you want me to?
Wait. If they go and buy, yeah, either the
What are you
heroic,
planning?
stop it. If they buy the heroic or FUT core and they offered you to coach, would you do it?
The heroic or FUT core
Yeah. And you got to deal with Simple and electronic.
in another language?
No, but you've already done this. So it doesn't matter. Because if they buy the heroic core, it's going to be English.
Okay.
If they buy the FUT core from what you said, if they don't take Demon, it's going to be English as well.
I mean, there's yes and no's. It would always be it would be a treat to some degree see how simple is in practice.
I think you could handle him. Look at the way he spoke to you when we were meeting outside the lobby. He still respects you. He's still got love for you.
I mean, I think we've always gone on well.
Remember the good old meme of Devwalk, one major, Simple
He
zero?
was not happy about that one, but I remember when he won the major and we were chilling with him after he won.
Yeah.
He was like, he took me aside and he's like, why did you create this? Why did you say this? Like, I just told him, I
Because you're
mean,
an
I
asshole.
just thought it was really funny that the best player of all time has not had a major yet.
Oh. What? So, did you tweet this out, or did you say it on an interview the first time? Like, how was it?
No. It was not a public thing at all. It was essentially, so let's see, what I think it was when we played in No Chance,
Yeah.
and essentially, I think it was 2019, maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were playing a Ukrainian team. I can't remember which, but they were definitely Ukrainian. So I, in my trolley mood, just changed my name to Devok One Major Simple Zero as I joined the server. It was an official game. Obviously, Scorebot on HLTV picks this up. People screenshot it, make forum posts, and it just. I
Has he
even
got a guy
had
with a HLTV
HLTV.
profile?
It was even like HLTV writers wrote me like, "Ha ha ha, that's hilarious." Like,
Oh
so that's
dear.
how it started, and then it just became like a meme.
You are the creator of a really iconic meme that now gets used for other players and other people. Do you understand that? Like,
Yeah,
this is now, I've seen a Nico, Zero Majors, Devilwalk One. Like, you are that person.
yeah, self-created meme.
Oh, man. We could use this for so many things as well. This is brilliant. All right, that's enough BC game talk. But yeah, I'd like to see if let's see if we can get you an offer. BC game, hit me up. I am officially representing DevWalk on this case. I will only take $1 million for the service of getting him
Oof.
sorted.
more than I will do doing the job.
What do you mean? I'm going to negotiate that contract for you.
Ah,
You'll be
okay.
fine. You'll be fine. Retirement home. No, that's clearly not what they're aiming to be. From here, we can go to M80. M80 did well at the major. Yeah. Ninth to 11th. Showed up good in stage one. Could have made it through to stage three, but the losses against Imperial and Passion were rough. I liked Hext on this team. He had a short stint there. How long was Hext on this team? For like 6 months?
5 months maybe.
Okay, so 5 months he's on this team. Um, I didn't expect this change, but I understand why they made it. If you now, Jaber's not on Wildcard, the worst organization in Counter Strike. Hopefully not in Counter Strike anymore. Please do leave Wildcard. You've made fumble after fumble here. I will be the biggest Wildcard. Wait, if I search Wildcard now, there's no. Oh, there's still a Wildcard. Okay, they still exist in some way. That's sad. Um, but Jaber or JBA or whatever he wants to be called is a very good player. He got to learn a lot under Stanislaw. Stanislaw, by the way, deserves so much credit for nurturing, raising up, and helping this kid grow. From when I met them in Shanghai and how he was improving map to map and learning and grinding, moved to Europe as a young American kid. Like, this is great that he gets to be on a team like M80 with some good players around him. They are still a young team. Yeah, 24 average age in here. Sin's still a young in-game leader at 23. Like, I think this is only a positive move for M80. Even if I liked Hex, like I see this as good.
I think obviously Hex was in the anchor roles. He was playing a lot. He is a more of an X Factor player, needs more space to kind of maneuver around. Maybe that is kind of what led to them losing in the end, even though it brought them success.
Hmm.
Um, but I like this M80 squad. I really do. I chatted with them at the major. They looked great. Love their kind of atmosphere, the vibe within the team. They're joking around and they're just enjoying the game, and that's kind of what you want from a team if you're inside the team or looking from an outside, that they are really savoring this moment, whatever it is. And as you say, they played great Counter Strike. They looked really, really good. And to me, it was almost a shock that they didn't make it,
Yep.
especially considering they could have made it with beating either Imperial or Passion. I think Passion was just one of those, just because passions have been, or complexity has been the gatekeepers of NA to some degree.
And still are.
Yeah. Um, and Imperial one was obviously really, really close. Two 13-11 losses on the maps
Yep.
that they lost. But overall, great major from them. I'm a little
Hmm.
bit shocked they make this change. But at the same time, I think
I think
Sin
it's one
and
you have to.
Slacks is
If
kind of
they,
untouchable, Lake untouchable, Swisher's done great. So to that degree, it makes sense, but I'm also a little bit sad that they didn't just keep on going to some degree with Hext,
but you
because
know
you're
why?
on the
I
right
say
path.
I don't agree with you on that last point because if you're M80 and you want to take this North American talent, when he's up for grabs, you take it
I get it.
because they need to be able to have this if some other American team wants to take him at any point. I will also say for a Liquid, they might have fumbled this if you did want to go back to North America in any way to have a North American core. That would have been Naf, Elige, and Jaber, put you back in the Americas. Makes things very easier for you,
Yeah.
compared to the shambles that Liquid's in. That's another team, by the way. I don't know what we're waiting for yet, but there probably should be some changes on that team. We'll have to wait and see. All right, next we've got Pain. Now, Pain, for me, this is 100% needed. Now, some people will say, what the hell? Like, why would you say that? Like, this is overall a pretty good team. The drop off of this team was massive. Either DGT performed well or Davideus performed well. Big Zera changing roles for the whole year. Snow now getting more space. NQZ, we had him on the podcast for the All About NQZ during Austin Major. Dealing with the mental ups and downs he had to go through, finding his own personal psychologist to help him. You keep this Brazilian core, which you should do.
Can they
You
just
remove.
merge with MIBR? Can they just like put these two
Oh, you're
teams
dreaming. I'm
together?
dreaming. By the way, I would love to see this, but the buyout problem we spoke about before, the crazy money. Like for me, Payne plus Insani win. But it is such like Brazil is of its own worst enemy in contracts and problems and buyouts and awful situations that it's actually hurting its own scene. Yeah. And Davideus, he's coming from Chile. DGT was from, let me get this right so I don't, Uruguay. And they didn't have back like so some fans messaged me and said, oh, their Brazilian was fine, their Portuguese was fine. Yeah. But actually, what I'd heard internally is that sometimes they were not so fast on reacting to things. Sometimes they were not able to be on the same page as the rest of the team. They were not able to make the moves the team wanted to. And if you're moving fast paced in the way that Biggie Zera calls Counter Strike, and remember Biggie Zera is here for the long haul. He did a huge contract extension not so long ago, right? If I look at Biggie Zera's contract on Paint, do they have it listed? No, they don't. But he signed for a long time. He had an extension. Um, Snow didn't perform the best considering he has like more star roles, but he's definitely one to look at. He needs to get comfortable with this again. I just hope they go all Brazilian core. But if they go, they've got a Pain Academy, right? Pain Academy. I don't know if they can pick any players from here. I don't think it's possible.
Oh,
I
checking
don't
the
know.
stats.
It has to be MIBR. You because MIBR is a shit show
It's
as
the
well right
only
now.
thing that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. But like, look at this. Kicker and Klim. Like Klim's not it, by the way. From the eye
Can't they
test,
just merge and change their name to Pain Made in Brazil?
Pain's a very big organization, by the way. Very big organization.
Yeah, but MIBR is as well.
I would actually argue that Pain might be bigger in other games than MIBR is.
Yeah,
Just to
but
put that out there.
Pain Made in Brazil. That's all I'm saying.
Brazil is made in pain. That is
What?
what we can do. I mean, just from all these contracts and stuff,
Ah,
The
okay.
solutions for pain are gonna be tough. But this needs to be a move that now makes them move forward, not backwards, because it's been a constant drop off since looking at Austin, where they made semifinals, which was
Yeah.
a huge result for them. And like even getting to like they were started in stage three, they won one game against 3D Max, a best of one. They lost to G2, Navi, and Bait, and then that was it. Complete GG.
And
And
I never really had faith in them either. Like it
we were
felt like
remember there
I'm
was a
just
time we
waiting
were.
for them to crumble instead of, them being this really exciting team to watch.
Yep. There was a moment where we were very high on pain,
Yeah.
especially after speaking to NQZ. And then we saw this fallout and drop off, and it just spiraled. And there's only so much moving around that Big Era can do because he was the one still performing great,
Yeah.
even though he's changing roles, even when he's moving positions. So I don't know. I will say that if they can get any MIBR player, someone spend big on Insani and then take someone cheap, take someone for the Academy League, even. I don't care. Just try and make this work. But we'll wait and see what they can get. What I do love and respect from Payne, by the way, they tweeted this out on the 9th of December, just a few days after their last game.
Yeah.
3 days after their last game, boom, information out there.
It also
I
gives,
respect it.
I mean, for people who might look at this and be like, "Oh, Pain are so cold. Like, how can they do this so early
Business,
on?"
baby.
No, but it's actually an advantage for players as well.
Hmm.
That this is out there as early as possible. It gives them the opportunity to plan for next season, have meetings, be able to find a team, find solutions for buyouts, etc. So for them to make a snappy decision like this, go for it. It actually benefits the players as well. Just
Yeah.
wanted to put that out there because it, out of
Yeah, I
context,
didn't look
can
at it like that.
seem really cold.
Oh, yeah, I didn't look at it like that. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. All right, let's also then go from here on Payne Rare Atom. No, we got. Here we go. Ecstatic placed entire roster on transfer list. Where were they to do that? Right, Ecstatic.
They were like,
35th in the VRS. It's not. It's not hugely like wow, but they can be
no,
bought if
but
someone
they
wants
had
it.
like second place in Dracula. They had Galaxy Battle 2025 second place. Uh, couple of couple of decent results. They were obviously in that major running at the end in
Hmm.
Philadelphia. They lost to Nine, who obviously lost to Fnatic in the final for the major spot. So they
Yep.
were still in the running. They were in the top four of the running for the last spot at the major.
Then you've also got Nine with Rouse and Berry. Fozie's come back from wildcard. He's finally back on the team he wanted to play on. They've obviously dropped down so much on VRS to 40th in the world right now compared to where they were before. And they bring in Beanox, who not a young player. This roster's 24 average age. And you've got Fozie, who 23, Seajot is 18, so he's bringing the average down. It's not like a massive focus team right now, but one that's trying to jump up. The one move I do love, by the way, is Ninjas in Pajamas. Benching you
Yeah.
jerks, I'm completely down for. Who was the rumor? There was someone that was rumored to go there that I actually thought I thought was a big move.
I mean,
What was the
Madden
Nip
is
rumor?
standing in for them.
Which is great, but I
Yeah.
heard a rumor of who they were trying to get. Oh, I wasn't ready for this.
I'm just gonna, I don't know, sugarcoat Madden. I think he's an excellent player. I think people sometimes in CS, they see a player play one role and they think that that's the entire, toolbox they have. When Madden came up in the scene, he was a fucking entry fragger. He was a playmaker. He was the secondary op. He
Yeah.
was calling openers. He was organizing in game. I was his coach, and I absolutely loved him. He was a great player, great teammate, and an incredibly hard worker. I think that he can come back to that form. People, look at some people's careers and think they are over. Yes, he's 27. Yes, might be not the youngest of prospects anymore, but I still think he's got
Hmm.
it in him. And maybe he will be under consideration for NIP if he does good in this, I think, two events that he's joining them for.
And he is back with Snappy, who also praises him in a similar way to you do.
Yeah.
Snappy's always been very positive whenever we speak to him about
Incredibly easy player to
Madam.
have.
Yeah. He goes back with my second hand for an event or two, which is it's interesting. I can't remember who I was supposed to hear that was replacing Ujax, but maybe that fell through, and that's why we end up with a standing situation. What else is there? That's it now. That's it. That's all. This is not as so important. So, teams attending Blast Bounty is our last thing to talk about in news. It's not so much a roster change, but look at. By the way, so this Blast Bounty roster is Furia, Falcons, Vitality, Aurora, Spirit, Liquid Phase, Paravision, Game Legion, Navi, Gentlemates, Astralis, Heroic, 3D Max, Pain, Fut, OG, Monty, Nine, Ents, Eyeballers, Inner Circle, Bet Boom, Fnatic, M80, Sinners, Passion, Hotu, Nip, VP, NRG, and Imperial. Eyeballers made it in because so many teams even declined that they didn't think they were going to get in. I actually DM'd Pitter and said maybe some teams will decline and you'll get a chance to come in. Remember, the first part of this event is played online, and then the top 8 teams go to the finals played in Malta. Um, Teams that skipped this, by the way: Mouse, Mongols, G2, Legacy, Bait, Saw, FlyQuest, Linvision, MIBR, Tidal, Fluxo. The lower ranked teams probably didn't skip because it was online, but because of other reasons. The higher ranked teams just don't want to have a chance of wasting any points in there, especially if Mals are making changes. Mongols not sure about their roster right now.
I mean, it almost to me looks like, I mean, unless you're maybe a legacy who wants to have a little bit more of a vacation before they start, their traveling grind. I think if you're Mongols bait or Mongols legacy, you have more of an understanding, maybe Lin Vision as well to some degree. But the rest of the teams, it almost looks like they are declining because they are making roster changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what
exactly.
I'm reading into it.
Going through it.
It's obviously not 100%, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting because it's online to start with.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Don't take the risk there.
I mean, understandably from Legacy, they don't want to fly to Europe, start grinding on a boot camp already to play a couple of online games. They'd rather do the sure thing and go to LAN instantly. Um, no, but for real. But Mouse is looking sneaky.
Definitely. Definitely. All right, now it's Q&A time. We've got just 2 questions in. Remember, if you are watching at this point of the podcast, send your questions in via the Discord. There's always a link down in the description. We take all and any questions you have in the Discord, and we will answer them live on the show.
Let's see
You can
if I
read the
have
first one if you want, Devilwalk.
Okay. From Cloudy. Banks. Where do you get the pins that you have on the suit sometimes? And I even asked this on the major.
Yeah. The suit pins, all the Counter Strike ones come from Perfect World. Perfect World is very different in the sense that, like, Valve is Valve, but in China, Valve must partner with a Chinese company to have the game out there. Perfect World is that company, so they get the rights to make everything, all the cool merch. Some of the stuff you see behind me. Let's see what you can see. Like, you've got the kilowatt case. You got these little guys. You got the high and buy. Like, all of this stuff they can make themselves. All of those pins come from my times visiting China and
But you also
CIC.
have the AK and those kind of
The
things.
the AK that was the tie clip that was given to me by Stellite, who I hosted the stage with. So Stellite is a host from Hong Kong, and he found that and gave it to me as a present. It was really kind of him, and I would keep wearing it. I wore it most of the major.
Cool.
So yeah, you can look. There is an online website somewhere for getting these pins if you did want to collect them yourself. If people are interested in that, obviously we miss out. I would love if Valve added genuine pins again from the game and the codes. Please, Valve, do
I
that.
have a couple at home.
So, but you know, the one I'm missing is the Howl. I own a Howling game, but I don't have the real pin of the Howl. I would love to get that.
That one I don't have.
No, that's a rare one. But if anyone had that and they want to sell it to me, drop in my DMs, drop in the Discord. Um, but yeah, the pins mostly all come from there. Some of the other ones you see me wearing, like I wore RuneScape party hat ones that match the color of the tie or the pocket square I have, all that kind of stuff. The other question is from Scorga. Only person to watch the podcast live. We snuck him into one of the media day sessions. It says, firstly, congratulations to both of you. Awesome to meet you again, Banks and Devil. Pleasure to meet you for the first time. You both did an amazing job. My question is that with the All About Counter-Strike podcast officially being part of the major, will you guys begin coordinating your dress code to match each other? Since we cannot lose Banks' signature swag as the event progresses, therefore, I guess it means you will visit Banks' tailor. By the way, we were only like a podcast for the major, thanks to Star Ladder. I don't know if any other organizers would take us up on it. Probably if it's Blast or ESL, Blast would go with maybe Scrawny and Launders, and then ESL probably would go with Moses and Sponge. But like, if anyone did ever want to do it, we would happily do it. It was a lot of effort. It was a lot of time. It was, imagine finishing a broadcast day, you're completely dead, and then you want to do an hour, 2 hour show. Um, it was a lot. It was not easy. I'm happy and I'm proud of what we did, but it was very draining. Sometimes maybe too much for what we should be doing at a major. But if anyone did want it, we could definitely work it out. So you're gonna go get some more suits, up
I
your
mean,
style.
you have to do the introductions to this tailor I've heard so much about.
See, I'll hook you up. That's it. You're not gonna say he's not confirming he's gonna match it. He's not gonna
I mean,
confirm.
I'm fine with matching, but every single time we make a podcast episode, unless it's in the arena,
Yeah.
Banks is like, "Don't wear anything nice. Wear a
Oh yeah,
hoodie."
yeah. When we were chilling, I'm wearing my Crocs. I'm rocking. I want to be relaxed, man. I want to be in a comfortable environment. For the suits and stuff on the arena, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing suits all the time. We have to level up as we go across all of it. But we are done with another episode, Devil. Closing thoughts? Anything you want to say?
I mean, thank you everyone that has been watching, subbing. It's been incredible to watch your comments on the videos and the contents that we produced during the major. You know, it's incredible. I mean, 1 year ago we started this, or in the beginning of January this year we
Yeah.
started this, and I could not for the world of me believe that it would grow this big so fast, and it's all thanks to you. So huge shout out to you guys.
And I just echo that more. We are, as of the 18th of December, we're at 1.5 million views across our videos. We've only on episode 44 as of right now. We've had some specials in there as well. We've had amazing guests. I want to up that more and do more. It's honestly just crazy how much you guys seem to enjoy it. I appreciate it. We just love what we're doing. So we started this a year ago. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. We'll see where the next year takes us. We're still doing it with no sponsors or no backing because we want to keep it as raw and or organic as possible. So for all the new people subbing, please keep watching. Please comment any feedback and thoughts as well. We're always down and we're open for discussion. Join the Discord. We'll still be able to pump out another episode before the end of the year. I'm pretty damn sure of all the roster moves around Devil's crazy schedule because I'm chilling at home. I'm relaxing. I'm streaming, relaxing,
I
enjoying
have
myself.
Christmas schedule.
Counter-Strike is forever. Family is temporary. And on that note,
Heartless
this
Brits.
is this is the end of the All About Counter-Strike podcast, episode 44. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do drop the comments. We'll see you on the next episode. More roster moves, more craziness, and we'll see what 2026 holds for the rest of Counter-Strike. But no matter what, we will be there because Counter-Strike is forever, and so is Banks and Devil.